Producer, I would say, is the logistics.
Mm.
They have I would say their main grasp of everything is the logistics of everything. So like I said, planning, scheduling, budgeting, all those nitty gritty intricate details. That's what a producer is responsible for. Director is, I would say, more creative. That's
Mm.
like when you get on set, and they're the ones that are kind of like they have that like audience hat on. So they're like, oh, so what would I like to see as someone that's taking this in for the first time?
Welcome to the Unknown Options, the place where we explore the unknown options. My name is Will, and today we have with us Moses. Moses, it's great to have you here. Your journey is important, so we want to highlight the good, the bad, and the ugly. For someone who might not know, what is a producer?
So yeah, producer. We always look at the core word, to produce, and that's to create, to cause to happen. To make it come into existence. I would say is a producer. So it's a lot of oversight. It's a lot of like when you think about like on set of when you're producing a TV show or a film or a movie. Um, it's having many eyes and having also a lot of hands in the jars of other people's work. It's you're the main focal point. So like everything is under your responsibility. It's a lot of oversight. It's a lot of managing with clients. It's a lot of managing your own employees as well. But essentially, it's kind of, I would say it's the focal point of creation. And I'm in film. I do documentaries and docu series. So I'm kind of in the middle of all that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I
Yeah,
love it. I love it, and I love doc. Side note: I love documentaries and docu series. Like that's like my. I like true. I love true crime. True
yeah.
crime is my
You're a
thing.
big true
Yeah,
fan.
yeah. I'm huge on true crime. Me and Ray watch it almost probably every single day. To be honest.
Hmm.
How did you get started in production or producing?
Yeah. So it's funny. I never growing up. This was not the ideal job. I grew up. My parents are both from Kenya. So like as people know, as a first generation, from immigrant parents, usually it's three options. Doctor, lawyer, engineer. So I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a pediatrician. That's kind of what I was like being put into, or like. I don't know. At an early age, I got put onto to Ben Carson. I don't know if people remember the doctor,
Yeah,
right? So like
yeah.
Gifted Hands. I remember getting that book and reading Gifted Hands, and that really made me want to be a doctor. And of course, that made my whole family happy, made my mom and my dad happy. So that was the trajectory from middle school, high school. It wasn't until freshman year of college, after freshman year of college, and taking lots of biology and chemistry classes, realizing that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I was just searching around. I went to Chapel Hill, UNC Chapel Hill for school, and I knew we had a very good journalism program. So I was like, after my first year, I was like, well, I got to figure out this major. Parents are going to hound me for a little bit. So let me just take some classes that I'll get interested in. And it was there, and it was just learning the software of Adobe Premiere, which is what a lot of production companies use to edit their film. But in class, we're learning this to compose and produce new segments. So that's kind of what I was into. I was in broadcast journalism, but once I got my hands on Adobe Premiere and I was editing these videos and making cuts here and there, that's when I was like, oh, I can really do something with this. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, so that spiraled into making music videos for my friends within the area and within the community, and that progressed to ESPN. Now I'm doing broadcasts and stuff like that, and ESPN is where I learned where I wanted to be a producer. At first, I thought I was going to be in front of the camera. I thought I was going to be like one of those next Stephen A. Smiths, but I developed such a love for producing there, truly just being behind the camera, but understanding that producer has their hands and they're actually the focal point, like I was saying earlier, when it comes to creation and creativity and all that. So that's where that developed, and now I'm here, producer in Portland, Oregon, doing work for a company called Blue Ox Films. Pretty new still, but lots of talented people around here. And so we've already got some shows lined up that we're getting ready to produce with some different clients and different companies, and we even have a Netflix show coming up. I can't talk about too much about it, but
Got you. Okay.
it's coming. It's coming. So within this year, hopefully, we'll start putting that out, and just excited, man. I'm really excited to be here.
Nice. That is an amazing journey, and you talked about a lot. So I'm gonna try to just
Yeah,
talk about some.
if you need to cut me off too, I know I spiral sometimes, so let me know.
Oh no, you flowed perfectly. And I don't want to interrupt you because, like I said, you're the focal point of this interview, and like we're listening to you, and like that journey was like it was flawless. But I really want to talk about like your, I guess, your Kenyan background and
Yeah.
how like the parents, like the doctor, engineer, lawyer.
Mm.
Um, how did your parents take it when you told them like you were becoming a producer rather than a pediatrician?
Boy, man, that summer was one of the toughest summers, relationship wise, with my parents.
Mm,
Um, I can't, sending off your kid to college is one of the most I don't think I've ever seen my dad as happy as the time I was going, like getting accepted, going to college, and then also graduating. So college is very important to them.
mm,
So of course they were very excited to have a, quote unquote doctor, about to be the first. I think I would have been one of the first doctors in our family if I came out and did
nice.
that. When I first year after I came back and I told them that, they were not happy, man. They were not happy. It was a lot of, mm, it was really just got, have to believe in myself for a little bit. I think
Yeah,
after the first month of going back to school, that's when they kind of got on board a little bit and just like, wanted me to do better, get good grades and all that. But yeah, man, not happy whatsoever. They thought I was kind of taking the easy way out, kind of,
mm,
jumping from the medical field to journalism. They were like, why? Like, I know it's tough, but just continue to do it. But they didn't understand that I could do it. Like, there was no
yeah,
doubt that I could do it, if I really,
yeah,
buckled down and, just 10 toes down and everything like that. But it was just something that I knew I did not want to do.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, like, there's so many people can have these voices. I know they're my foundation and everything too, but
yeah,
it's you that has to live with this. You know what I mean? They're not going to be with
definitely,
you going into the office or doing whatever you want to do, every single day. So like, if you're not going to be
definitely.
happy with what you put most of your time in, with our occupations in this world, then what's the point of doing it? And that was my outlook on it. And I said, I mean, I have to take a jump. I know I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to learn. It doesn't interest me as much as as production interests me.
Definitely.
So yeah, it was tough. It was definitely tough. I don't think we were like really good until like graduating.
Oh
It's
man.
funny, man. Like once it's the 180. It was that senior year, man. When my dad learned I was actually coming out with 2 degrees. I
Mm,
graduated with journalism and a second major in communications.
okay.
But coming out with 2 degrees, of course, when they heard ESPN, that's my job landing at a college. Yeah, you can't tell them nothing now. So they're very happy. They're very happy seeing
Yeah.
the success that I've had, the little success that I've had so far. But yeah, man, no, college was a little bit tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. When it
Oh
comes
yeah,
to that stuff.
we gonna get deep into that.
Yeah,
I have a question though. Why? Because like I've had a lot of I guess people with immigrant backgrounds on here, and they all say the same thing: doctor, engineer, lawyer.
right,
Why is that? I mean, obviously it's great. Those jobs are obviously great. They're top tier society for the most
right,
part.
right.
But why is that pushed? Do you think is it a status thing? Is it a money thing?
It's status. I think it's status.
Mm,
It's status, and I think all that entails money, um, and I guess prestige.
mm,
I think a lot of them, my parents aren't like that. I would say, and when it comes to bragging, I would say I'm very
yeah.
happy, of course, and they'll tell the family. They'll keep it. My mom loves to keep it within the family, but a lot of just having that connection, they will love. Parents love to hop and tell their friends or tell the other people from the same country, and I think it's definitely a prestige thing and a clout thing. Those three main jobs
Mm,
bring lots of prestige and lots of eyes, lots of money, and lots of respect. And I think
mm.
that's why those, I think that those three is what that why they look at that with so much respect, and they want their kids to have that, to have that respect as well. So I know many stories of, like, you see a lot of African celebrities, whether they're comedians or actors, all kind of have the same similar story where when they took this route, their parents were not happy, like,
Yeah.
whatsoever. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
kind of takes that success, and I think it's because they're scared. I think they know that,
Yeah.
if once you dive into this, it's going to be very hard to make it on your own. And I think that's what they want in the end. And
Yeah.
those three occupations kind of bring stability.
Yeah.
They bring stability in money and things of that nature. So I think that's why they always try to push their kids or their family members into that, along with the respect and the clout. But
Yeah.
they're always fine. Something I've realized, they're always fine once you have that success. Like,
Sure.
once they see you stuff, like things coming into fruition. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I hope most of them don't have that mindset where it's just strictly those three. Like, you can do so
Yeah.
much more and be successful and all that too. Because, like, it's pushing people to get there. That's the way it's needed. You need that foundation to help you get to where you need to go. So
Definitely.
parents definitely helped me with that too. I know it took them a while, but I also can't hold them because, from a family standpoint, I know that's what my grandparents were saying too. I know that's what
Yeah.
everyone back at home looks up with, like, much admiration as well. So,
Yeah.
but I would say it's money, stability, and clout. I think those
Mm.
three. That's why they like those three avenues.
It's interesting. It's
Yeah,
definitely interesting. But like you said, it makes sense though. I can't, like you said, you can't hold them because we'll probably be the same way to our
yeah.
kids,
You know what I
or
mean? Like, I can't
like
hold, like, you
I'm
want to do
already saying,
better. Like,
yeah, yeah. Like I'm already saying, like my daughter or sons are going to do STEM. Like I say, like all the time. And it's like
mhm.
I'm becoming the people that not that I hate, but becoming people that I like. I'm like, okay, like why would
Like,
you make someone like force you? Why would you
you
force your or
know,
not? You know what I mean? But it
exactly,
makes sense. It's just, I guess, it's
exactly.
different with age. I think it brings perspective, and I mean,
Right.
and it's like it's really hard because I mean we're younger on the younger of the age spectrum, Will. So it's like our perspectives is like about risk, and their perspective is like their risk tolerance is like very I
Very
guess it's
low.
yeah. So it's like I've been there. I mean, if I was you,
Yeah.
I would do this, and it's perspective. They're not seeing from our lens. It's like we want to take more risk.
Right.
But it all works out. But double majoring in journalism and communication.
Mhm.
Tell us how you went from student at the glorious Chapel Hill and ended up at ESPN.
Yeah. So Chapel Hill was cool. Like I said before, started off biology, or I was a biology major. That's what I got accepted into, as. But when I jumped to second year, was a lot of my classes were in our journalism school. So the community there was very, you have similar classes with a lot of people, especially I was doing broadcast journalism, so you have lots of classes with similar people. But there is a class there called Sports Extra, and essentially what it is, it's just a UNC ESPN, where we
Mm,
have, like, we have anchors, we have and well, that's the news section. But we have anchors, and we're kind of just break, like it's Sports Center, where you
mm,
roll the highlights of whatever UNC was playing, team playing, whether that's basketball. We did all sports, so whatever season it was, we did basketball, we did tennis, we did women's soccer, we did all that stuff. But we would have people, like, go to games, film them, get the highlights, come back to the studio, cut them up for our UNC type ESPN. So I was
mm,
an anchor. I was an anchor for that show my senior year. So that whole thing, and I mean, you have directors, you have producers, you have people working on the audio, what have you, while our professor kind of just, like, oversees and makes sure we're doing whatever, we're making sure we're doing it right. But we
mm,
went live. It was a live show every Monday at 5 o'clock. So it was there where I really built, like, just networking with people who were doing similar stuff that I was doing there.
mm,
But to get from so how I got from ESPN, basically, to answer your question, is one of my best friends now. His name is Brett Thompson. He'll probably watch this for sure.
nice.
But he was one of the big producers. He was a year ahead of me, but he was one of the big producers for that show. He did that show. He did one of our new shows over there too. But he was a producer, and he moved to ESPN so he was a year above me. So he left, and then I was there
Hmm.
senior year. But kept in touch with him. Networking is very important. Anyone who's
Yeah.
watching, but kept in touch with him, and we were like, and it's funny. He's like my best friend now, but we were friends in college. You know what I mean? Like we were just
Yeah.
cool. Nothing like the relationship that we have now,
Yeah.
but we kept in touch. I saw him doing his thing over there. I reached out to him. I said, "Hey man, like I'm looking for a job." This was the next year after he's been there for a year.
Hmm.
Hey man, looking for a job. I know you're working at ESPN. If there's anything that I could do to like get my name in the door or put my foot in the door, if there's any freelancing work I could do, just like I want to get that experience. But he was very helpful. Kind of broke down the job for me. He was a production assistant at the time, and that's what I started with when I went to ESPN in Charlotte. But he broke it down for me, put me in contact with some people there, put me in contact with his hiring manager, the person who hired him. And after talking to her, it was very easy. The conversation was like very natural.
Hmm.
So I would say him connecting me with the hiring manager, connecting with her, we were very, very well, very good. But she said, yeah, she was like, you'll be perfect for, to be a production assistant here. Just talking to Brett too, knowing
Hmm.
that we come from the same school, same classes, same programs, and things of that nature. It was pretty easy getting into ESPN just from having that help. So
Nice.
it wasn't like throwing my name in a long list of
Yeah.
applicants and stuff like that. Like I know many have done. I've done it now too. Like even when I was leaving ESPN, like I put my name in lots of applications, of course, and that's way harder
Yeah.
to get into the door just by doing that. So yeah, man, shout out to Brett Thompson for sure. Janie Berg too was the hiring manager, but those two are the
Nice.
ones who kind of started off this journey for me after college.
Nice. I love that you highlighted networking. People don't understand that college is really just a place for like similar minds to network.
Yeah,
And like you said, like the journalism school was like where journalistic minds, creative minds can
exactly.
collaborate and work. And people they highlight the degree more than the relationships. And it's like it should be the other way around because like you said, like without you knowing him, you're very intelligent. You probably still could have got a job. Like you said, it would have been extremely harder without having him in your pocket. And it's crazy that you say that. Like you guys weren't like that good of friends. Now you guys are best friends. Because
Yeah.
on my last podcast, I was interviewing a dude named Ryan Weimer. He's a real estate investor, and he
Mhm.
was saying how there's levels to friends. Like he's like, there's high school friends, there's college friends, there's
Absolutely.
business friends, and you're constantly evolving. So I mean, he was a college friend, but now he's like really like a best friend to you, but also a business friend. Because
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll probably put him in a place in a few years. Honestly, it's just gonna keep
Oh,
leveling each other up.
I already even thought about it, man. Like I tell you, dude. Like yeah, it's like you said, it's so important. And that's why that's what college is. Like I just making those connections, making friends with people like and it may not help you now, but like you never know how it's going to help you in the next few years. So I always try to tell people like don't miss like take every opportunity you can to meet people because you never know what's going to happen and it could be a year, it could be 2 years, it could be 5 years from now. You know what I mean? But
Definitely,
because you met this person now, they might know somebody. If they don't know somebody, they might they might know somebody else that can help you.
definitely.
So yeah, man, networking is definitely the key. Definitely a key.
It's and there's always a talk about college is going to go away. Like I do think college should be free. I think bachelor's degrees should be free, but masters should cost money and PhDs cost money. But I think college would never go away just because of that. Like there's so many. Like I think about people that are like living in like very urban areas where like they're surrounded by similar mindsets. Even people that are living in really affluent areas, they're surrounded by similar mindsets. College is a place where people from different backgrounds, different really life's like and they can live in the same city. It's just different
Yeah,
sides of the city. And they can collab. Like and they
yeah.
meet each other. Like there's like I remember my dad, he went to college, but he was from Brooklyn, New York. He was born in 1969. So obviously like raised in the 70s, 80s. He went to
Mhm.
the military and there are people, Caucasian Americans that never seen a African American before from where
Right,
they lived, and he
right.
had never seen a Caucasian before until he went to the military.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like it's not like that extreme now because with social media, but there it is extreme to the point where you don't meet people who have the same mindset as you, and it's like people. really underestimate, because if we don't have college in society, where do people network? And you say, like, you could say online, but they're central, physical. You know what I mean? It's in one place.
Very, and not to hop to, but I was reading your questions, the ones that you sent over before the
Yeah.
interview, not to jump the interview, but like that question that you put up there, like, is college needed?
That's the
And
next one.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I was sitting there and thinking, like, is it needed? And I'm like, nowadays, like, there's so much stuff that you can find online to
Yeah.
learn. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, like, whether it's your computer science, like coding, like all that stuff's YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, even this
Yeah.
job now, like, I was thinking about it too. I was like, there's lots of stuff you can learn to edit on YouTube. You can learn to edit all that stuff.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, you don't really need college, but like you said, like, there's much more to college than just learning and like the
Yeah.
degrees. Like, one of the biggest things is networking and just meeting people. Like,
Yeah.
I would never have met Brett and had my foot in that door to get to ESPN if I didn't go to college and see all, you know what I mean? And like you
Definitely.
said, different perspectives too. Like, um, I went to a very diverse high school, so that was kind of
Mhm.
my first introduction into just every religion, every,
Yeah.
demographic and stuff like that, and just learning about
Yeah.
different cultures and stuff. And then college was also another step up too. But like you said, like, if you don't have that, if you're not able to get away from what you're used to,
Yeah.
which most people do, you always end up developing just one mindset,
Yeah.
and that's not going to help you grow in whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's college is where you learn so much, not only about other people, but also about yourself. You start to
Definitely.
realize, like, all the stuff that you were, like, taught to believe. You start thinking back, like, wait, was that right? Was that, you know what I mean? Like, did I really think that?
Yeah.
Like, there's been so many, like, come to Jesus moments with me in college, just thinking about, like, what I was doing in high school and how much my mind has shifted and,
Yeah.
completely from that. Um, so yeah, like, I never want to be like, no, you have to go to college, all that, like, because it's expensive.
Yeah.
Just like you said, man, like, I wish it was, reasonable for everybody. But
Yeah.
if you can, I highly suggest that you do that. Just like you said,
Definitely.
seeing different perspectives and just meeting different people. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like, it's just going to do wonders for you at the end. So,
Definitely.
I think undergrad, you should go. If you
Yeah.
can, you should go. Whatever it takes. Like, if you have to take a second job, honestly, like, I know it's tough, but like, it's community college for 2 years, and then just for the last 2 years, do that. Like,
Yeah.
whatever you need to do, so
Yeah.
you can, survive afterwards. But most jobs nowadays, even, like, they won't even look at you if you don't have a bachelor's. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's getting bad.
it's getting tough. It's getting tough. So I always say undergrad for sure.
Yeah.
Master's school, now that's a different story. Like, now,
Yeah, we can go. We can go on
you know what I
that.
mean? That's something.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, as I was telling you, like, my parents are immigrants, so of course that's the biggest thing they were pushing.
Yeah.
Even when I left after college, like, so my mom's like, when are you gonna get your master's? I'm like,
Yeah.
Ma, listen, medical school makes sense.
Yeah.
Comp sci, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
100%.
My industry, unless you're like unless you're trying to become like a professor at a school or something like that, experience kind of tops all. Experience in who you know is definitely what tops all, and it's what's going to get you to the next door or to the next space. So I've just been focusing on that, and then, like, don't regret it whatsoever, because I would be in debt right now if I got my master's
Yeah.
degree, like, and
Yeah.
it probably maybe would have helped, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely is a possibility it could have helped. But I like how things are going right now. So, it's a little question you have to ask yourself, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's like I'll never forget. I was working for this little healthcare software company in Ballantyne,
Yeah.
and I remember I was making like $40,000 a year. When I was fresh. I was making 47,000 fresh out of college. Like, that's my first job out of college. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm making 47. Like, I can scale. 'Cause I was making money on the side too, because I was doing real estate.
Right.
But I remember there's a dude that started the same day as me, and his name was Isaiah. I'm not gonna say his last name because, like, me and him cool, but I'm not gonna expose him.
Right.
But he got his MHA because it's a healthcare software company. So, like, he got his master's of health administration, and me and him were making the same thing. And I was like, yo, like, and he was like, Will, I gotta leave so I can make $60,000. And he did end up leaving to make 60,000. So, like, I was in there for 3 months, and he was on there for 3 months too. So he did end up leaving. But I'm like, it was literally like insane to me how he went to school for a longer period of time and like we were
They
making the same
end
amount of
up at the
money.
same spot. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So it's I don't know, it's crazy. But yeah, you answered that question. So like, do you think there's going to be, or do you think there's a barrier to entry to becoming a producer, and do you think it's going to like slow down or grow if there is one?
Barriers, like in terms of like the education barrier, like is it
I would,
needed?
I would say that, yeah. I would say, do you need education, or is it like because some industries are like kind of like you really need to know someone like kind of like tech sales. Like you can get in a job, but if you know someone, it's going to be exponentially faster to get a
Right,
job.
right,
Not lifetimes faster, but like they can speed the process up. Like you
right.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, production is like so. I know with this company, it's still small. It's like 25 to 30 people.
Hmm.
So I know like through the way we network, like everybody kind of knew somebody within here to kind of get here. Um, I believe, and I'm pretty like 99% sure, everybody here within my company has a bachelor's degree. That's how it was at ESPN for sure. I think I even believe the requirement was to have a bachelor's degree to even put your name to give your name in the application. Um, I don't know if it's very. I wouldn't say it's too many because it's networking. I think is very important in this business for
Hmm.
sure. It's who you know, but it's also what you know. What you know is going to get to who you know is going to get you to who you know. So not too many. I wouldn't say not too many. I think with the way things are going now and how you're able to just learn so much on your own. I don't know if you're familiar. I don't know if you watched the Spider-Man. I think it's two, the Spider-Verse one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a Lego scene. There's a
I
Lego. You see about that kid?
yeah. I saw it on Twitter. I saw it on
Yeah,
Twitter.
yeah. That
Yeah.
kid. And I'm blanking on his name, and I really don't want him to blank on his name because I think he comes actually he's African descent as well. But that story was crazy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he just
Yeah.
put it on there, got views, and all of a sudden Sony Animation's calling him to do a whole scene in the movie.
Yeah.
So the way times are going now, and the way like things are it's so easy to be seen
Yeah.
online. I think that's going to help for a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers right now. Like I would say they're producers like
Yeah.
Mark Phillips and them. Like they're producers too. They come up
Definitely.
with the producers within their group come up with skits. They shoot that and they release it online. So it kind of depends on what avenue you're trying to go to. It's harder for them. Because everything is kind of like in house. I would say the route I kind of took is the kind of a little bit of the business side now because at least I have
Hmm.
this. I have connects within production companies now and talking to clients, whether it's like Nike or Netflix or North Face or what have you. I'm kind of like putting my foot into the door that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes on their end, it kind of is like as a YouTuber, kind of takes a little harder because I know they've been doing videos for I don't know how long. So it's depends on what kind of avenue you go to, and I'm sure there's benefits like from both sides. I know from my side I
Definitely.
would definitely like to be more creative. Like I wish I had my own assets, like the way you're doing this unknown studios, having your own podcast. This is like
Yeah.
your creative thinking, all that.
Yeah.
And I'm working now. Hopefully I will develop that like within these
Yeah.
next year or so. So we'll get there. It's kind of taking a little time just because of all this work that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But it's I think once I get there and once I have my own, it's going to make it easy. Since I've done all this already, it'll be easier to get that into the foot or into the doors of production companies and stuff like that. I know I kind of just went on a tangent, but
Oh, you're good.
yeah. So I don't know, like because it's a tough question because I see barriers and I also don't see barriers. I see
Yeah.
them minimizing throughout these next couple of years or even so on. But I also see barriers that have been there like when I was there too, and hopefully like that bachelor degree thing. I hope that like goes away because there's so many talented people in this world
Yeah.
who don't need school to do what they do. But yeah, I think it's like ongoing. It's like up and down. You know what I mean? Like
Definitely.
technology is going crazy like now. AI is coming now. It's not even coming, it's here. Even that's like, and even that's already doing stuff to our company too. Like we have, like right now we have two AI interns working on our systems right now. Two students from Portland State University. So like they come in every day and they're working on AI for our systems to make our lives a little bit easier when it comes to tracking projects and stuff like that. So it's
What?
a crazy time, man. When it comes to technology, I think it's changing in it's going to change everyone's aspect in everyone's industry.
I think it's gonna make it better. Like you brought up a great point. Because like I follow, I'm really big into like Marvel comics. Like I was raised on comics, honestly.
Yeah,
Like I really was. So I saw that. Like I didn't follow the dude, but like the comic sphere that I follow on Twitter, like reposted
crazy,
it.
man.
So I saw it and I was like, this is really good. And I thought a
Crazy.
grown man made it. It came out that like a 14-year-old boy
Yes, man.
made it, and it was really amazing. And it really just like for me, obviously we know crypto is really big, and it still is. Like it's obviously less big than what it was a few years ago. Like it's the hype is gone, I guess. But
Yeah,
it harped on decentralization, and I think the internet and AI technologies, and really the biggest platform I think that's pushing decentralization is really YouTube. Like
yeah,
I think decentralization is gonna be even bigger because, like you said, like this this boy, he's a child, he didn't necessarily compete, but he saw a vision, he created it, and
yeah.
the giant the company
Right,
corporation of Sony was like, yo, this is so good. Like we're gonna like, yeah, I think it really like it's really crazy. They have so many people working for the company, and no one, maybe someone thought of it, but didn't have like like they didn't want to put it together because they didn't want to conflict with the vision that the other
right.
person had. But it's just amazing to me, honestly. Like it's really amazing.
It's a crazy story. It's a crazy story. Like, yes, yeah. Kudos to that kid, man. I'm gonna look his name up just so just so I'm prepared later on. I need to start giving him his props because, like, yeah,
Yeah,
man. Like you said, it's wild. Like Sony, like reached out to a 14-year-old kid. You know what I mean? Like, I can only imagine what his thought process was. Like when I was 14, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like I was 14, I was just doing
yes,
dumb stuff, you know? So like
yeah, yeah,
nah, shout out to that kid, but like, just yeah, exactly that. Like, it's opening. It's the ability to just learn from wherever you are.
yeah,
There's so many resources out there nowadays that it can open doors for you, like in
definitely,
any aspect. And like, and I know he didn't plan for that to happen, but like, look at him now, and he's probably going to do more stuff either for them or for another movie or whatever, what have you. He's probably going
yeah.
to be set, coming. He might not even have to
Oh,
go to college. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you might just do high school and then that's it. Like,
yeah. He's
So
gonna because and it's not even about like what he did. It's like his network. He's gonna know like so many people at Sony. They're gonna be like, yeah, like he's like a genius. You know what I mean?
yeah,
He created a
exactly,
scene.
exactly. Like he's set now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's really crazy.
it's man, it's wild. But I guess we're going on a little tangent. I guess we'll go. What is your? I know you said you're on the business side of production right now at your current company, your current
Yeah,
role. What does your day to day look like?
yeah. So as a producer, when I first got here, I've been doing mainly post producing, and so it's that. So title's full name is producer. But what producing is kind of, it's like, so you're in there from jump sometimes, and sometimes you're post producing. Producing, I would say, like the pre producing is client, either the client comes to you with their vision, or they're asking you to create a vision for whether it's their product, or whether it's an athlete they want to highlight or something like that. So you jump in, you have your producers, you have all your people, we have like a team of producers, we do storyboards and whatnot, come up with the content or whatever, come up with like the way we want to show what the client wants from us. Um, so once we like organize all of that, whether that's detailing budget, arranging travel and all that stuff for the people that are coming for talent, hiring the crew. You got your director of photography, you got your gaffers, you got your assistant cameras, you got your directors, you get all that. So producing is all that, like planning. It's all that planning from the beginning. Once the production shoot happens, like once everyone's on set, you film, compile all the footage, and everyone goes back to their respective office and stuff. You come back, and now you're just like managing like the relationship with the client, making sure like, hey, This is what we're doing today. We're going to come up with like a first edit for your review. We
Mm-hmm.
cut that up, spice it up, whether that's a documentary, docuseries, marketing campaign, commercial, whatever that is. I'll work with the editor to come up with a first pass of what they wanted, right? So we send that back, wait for feedback. They get their notes, they come up with their notes, send it back to us. So it's a lot of back and forth, managing the relationships between the client and our company, managing uh, managing and detailing the editing process with like me and the editor. So it's a lot of like it's a lot of middleman, but also like oversight too, because it's not
Mm-hmm.
like you're just relaying one message to the other. You're also like because you're the main point of contact too,
Yeah.
from all angles. So it's a lot of so like you said my day to day walk in the office, check my emails, of course, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. So whatever point of the project it is. So if we're like in the middle of it, like we've already filmed, I'm talking to the client and I'm talking to my editor, and we're just collaborating, trying to get pieces together from feedback from clients, so we can get it to like a ready, finalized edit to send back, whatever commercial,
Mm-hmm.
documentary, episode, whatever, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, it's more like planning, budgeting, detailing. Like, do we have to travel? Do we have to like go to? We have some people going to LA next weekend,
Okay.
so they're gonna all go to LA. We've booked lodging, we've booked travel, we've booked food, we've booked production assistants, runners to make sure that when they're on set, that everyone has like a schedule. Also, yeah, we do that too. We do scheduling. It's just all the nitty gritty, intricate details of a promotional shoot is what a producer is responsible for. So some weeks, as you can imagine, are very busy because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm handling 5 or 6 projects, all from different stages, whether that's pre-production or post-production,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's like I'm supposed to be delivering the final edit or edit or commercial, or what have you, by today, or if I'm supposed to be doing it next week. Deadlines, they range. So
Mm-hmm.
like yesterday I was really busy. Today I was not busy like whatsoever. It's been
Mm.
very slow today, which I was very thankful for. So it's a lot of like today. We sent a lot of our edits and stuff to clients. So right now they're reviewing notes. So right now we're at a
Mm.
standby. I'm at a standby point of the process. So that's why it's just a lot of waiting, just waiting for notes to get back. And then tomorrow, hopefully, when they come back, I'll communicate with my editor saying, "Hey, this is what Nike wanted to do today, or
Mm.
this is what their vision was today. Let's get this out to them by end of the day, or however long it's going to take you." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just managing that relationship with the clients. I would say that's one of my biggest jobs. Making sure they're
Okay.
happy, making sure that what they asked for from the beginning is what they're being given, keeping them in the loop of all things, responding to deadlines, and just being there at like a first call, phone call notice. Like if they have a question and they want to like ask me, I should be able to get them within that day. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's usually it's a lot of keeping them happy. Also, like making sure the creative process is good, the creative direction is good. QCing a lot of what the editors are doing as well, making sure that it's picture perfect for the clients, so that they're happy. So yeah, my day ranges. It ranges lots of emails, lots of being in Adobe Premiere and working with my editor and stuff like that. And then sometimes it's traveling, going to shoot. I was at Nike headquarters campus a week ago,
Nice.
doing a recap event for Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice had a building. He had a building, a rededication. He has one of those buildings. So I don't know what
Mm.
they've ever been. So Nike has it's like their campus one. It's crazy, crazy,
I heard it was. I heard it
crazy,
was.
crazy.
I heard
Nike
it
had like
was.
it's my first time there, and I'm like trying to be professional. I'm like talking to the client and everything, but I'm just looking around and I'm just like, whoa, like what is this place? They have like basically the goats. Like the goats have their own building. So Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Serena, Coach K, they have these huge Jerry Rice. They have these huge buildings dedicated to them, like huge
What?
buildings. And the Nike employees, they all work within. So like some work in Jerry Rice building, some work in Serena's building, and they all doing their own thing. It's not like um, centered around them, but like
Yeah.
the building is. So you'll see all their artifacts, you see accolades, all that stuff. Like it's all dedicated to them. But of course, these guys are all doing their own thing. It's just like the buildings that they call. So I was there for an event, so that took the whole day.
Mhm.
But following Jerry Rice around while they're like basically giving him a tour of his building. It's a rededication. So he's like cutting the ribbon, like, hey, everybody's,
Yeah.
So that was cool. So sometimes my days are that. It's like traveling and being on set. So I'm kind of like glued to the client a little bit, or I'm just like, hey, if there's anything that you need today, like let me know. If
Yeah.
there's like a shot that you need, like a shot that you like really want, like just communicate it to me. So like I'm directing my cameraman to like, hey, get this angle. I'm telling my other cameraman, like,
Mm.
hey, go shoot them over there. Like they had like lots of football players there too, like current ones like CD Lamb and Dak
Okay.
Prescott. Colin Kaepernick was there too. So I'd be like, hey, you focus on Jerry right now. You go shoot that, get like your, get cool angles, all that. Hey, you
Yeah.
go focus on the football players right now, just for a little bit, get reaction shots. Um, I'm kind of like, as they're filming and like since their mind is on filming, I'm supposed to have that mind like, hey, what should like I'm supposed to have like, what should this look like in the end? You know what I mean? So like
Mm.
as I'm there, I'm kind of directing them, telling them like, hey, yeah, go shoot that. Or I'll tell employees. There was one time where Jerry was like in the room and there's a lot of employees outside and they're all huddling waiting for him. So I'm like, I had a good idea for a shot. I've said, hey, it would be cool if, when Jerry Rice comes out to come on the next part of the tour, everyone's just chanting Jerry, Jerry. So while he's
Mm.
doing that, I'm like, hey, can I get a chant going when he walks out? So everyone starts yelling Jerry, and then like he should have seen his face. He brightens up. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like go. So like, and that's a shot we would not have gotten if I didn't say like, hey, let's all do this.
Mm.
Let's hype him up as he walks out. So it's a lot
Yeah.
of just managing that, having that creative mind in set two as well,
Okay.
and just trying to capture everything that you might miss. And yeah, it's just like being that
I
extra set of eyes, man.
I I
It's a
love it. That sounds like a really fun job. Like I got two things. One thing to say, one question.
yeah.
First of all, does LeBron? I guess two questions. Does LeBron have a building out there?
LeBron definitely has a building.
Okay, okay. I was going to say like what?
It's actually crazy. I even left his name out. Yes, LeBron definitely has a building. It's definitely one of the bigger ones too. So like,
Okay, nice.
it's I didn't get to walk into it. So we were doing it. So I only got to see Jerry Rice's building and Tiger Woods' building.
Okay.
But I heard LeBron's is crazy.
I'm honestly surprised Tiger even still got a building there.
Yeah, you know what I
How
mean.
the media
Kind of like
trash him.
sit down, but like I think once you stamp your name, it's,
True.
you know what I mean. Like like he hasn't won that much since, but like,
No, it's for me. It's not about the win. It's about like how like the media trash him. Like
oh,
those.
true. It's actually crazy. You know what I mean? Like when you think about that story, because I was a kid when that happened.
Yeah.
When you think about that story, it like exactly like you said, like the way the media like just turned on him, you would not. And then looking back now, you would have thought that this man did something like so illegal.
He
Like,
killed
kill somebody.
somebody.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I've seen people like I don't even know who Jim Boeheim is. I don't want to like so Jim Boeheim, the coach of Syracuse. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember him like when he what did he do? Remember when he had that car accident and he ended up killing somebody by it was an accident, of course, but he ended up killing somebody. I
Hmm.
think it was his. I want to say I'm not. Let me not say it. Allegedly.
Yeah.
I'm not. Probably
Yeah.
not. I don't think it was his fault, but it was just a weird turn of events.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I remember, like the reception. Like I remember when his first game back, everyone started like applauding and like like he's back, and I'm like in my head, I'm like, I mean, like I'm happy he's okay, but like does
Yeah.
that really call for like a standing ovation? Like someone died. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
someone passed away. Like so
Yeah.
it's the way people interpret things sometimes is weird. But like you said, like you would have thought Tiger killed somebody, and now looking back now,
Yeah.
oh, he cheated. Like like
He
it's
like
bad, yes, but like
yeah.
the way people like the way like his clients and like all his like business partners try to
It's
drop him and stuff. I was just like, okay, they're
it's
doing way too much, man.
yeah.
They
It's
really
crazy. Like you said, we were young, but like he was
yeah,
all over the newspapers. It was news stories for like
dude.
it might have been months
No,
after that.
it had to have been, dude. Like like we said, like we were kids, and I remember like feeling a disdain towards him after that too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I always think about it now, and I always look back like it's crazy. Like they really spun that like he did something like the most craziest illegal thing. Because like yeah, like it's bad. Of course it's bad, but like he shouldn't have been treated in that sense. Like not to that extent.
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's
Crazy.
like because it's like it's first of all that's his business. Like in a way, it's like it's not even like that's not like a if he would like laundered money from like the PGA
Yeah,
or something like that. Like, you know
yeah,
what I mean? But like between him, his wife, and his mistress, that's like nothing was
right,
like, and
right.
then like
It's crazy.
yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I love that. I love your job. My question was because I'm a little I think I had this question because I love James Gunn and like I said, I'm a big comic fan, so I'm looking forward to Superman Legacy coming out. Pumped. I'm a DC fan. I'm a Marvel fan too, but I'm DC like all the
More
way.
DC?
I'm all the way. I'm DC all the way, all the way.
Ooh.
I was raised on DC comics. Like I read a little bit of
Nah, that
Marvel
makes
comics,
sense. That
but
makes
yeah,
sense.
like I was raised on Batman, like the Wonder Woman, the Green Lantern. Like
Yeah,
I was really big on it. I really didn't read almost any Marvel growing up, so that's why like when Marvel was really big, I was looking at like the Snyderverse. I mean, that's like the
Zack
Superman,
Snyder.
yeah,
Yeah,
Henry Cavill and all them, and it was decent, but I mean, I think James Gunn is really going to revive like the franchise because what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. Anyways, off topic, but the question, like
yeah.
the
I like this
reason,
too. Yeah, I like this too.
yeah, I like him. So like, what's the difference between a director and a producer?
True. So producer, that's a great question. Producer, I would say, is the logistics.
Mm,
They have I would say their main grasp of everything is the logistics of everything. So like I said, planning, scheduling, budgeting, all those nitty gritty intricate details. That's what a producer is responsible for. Director is, I would say, more creative. That's
mm,
like when you get on set, and they're the ones that are kind of like they have that like audience hat on. So they're like, oh, so what would I like to see as someone that's taking this in for the first time? So
mm,
they're way more creative, and like unlike here, like we have our two founders, my two bosses, Taylor Kavanaugh and Matt Wilcox. So Taylor Kavanaugh, he's the producer. He's like
mm,
executive producer of the whole thing, and then Matt Wilcox, the other founder, he's more director, so more of the creative. Like
mm.
he like when we're doing like storyboards and stuff, that's where he kind of takes over. Like, oh, what's the idea for this, or what are we trying to get for this? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I definitely want to definitely want to have two hats on that one. I definitely want to have love producing, but I also want to direct too because I think it's super cool, and having being able to direct the creative part like on set is wonderful as well. So I'd say yeah, director is the creative when they're on set. Producer is more logistics of the whole thing, but then like post producing, I would say they have the creative on the post. But
Mm.
director is, I mean, since it's where it's all starts, it all starts from like from shooting and getting the footage. The director has like the main creative vision basically, and
Got you.
that's what they're more responsible for.
Okay, I love that. That's a literally a perfect example,
Yeah,
literally. So we're gonna hop into the not so speed round.
cool.
Um, Obviously, so it's a few. I had a couple more questions like after I sent the thing out to you. I think
All right,
so. I think it's around 6 questions. But first question
cool.
is 4 words that describe a producer.
4 words that describe a producer. Okay, definitely organized. I think the biggest thing is organization. So organized. Um, say charismatic is another one. Just being able to charisma is very important. Your perspective is what really drives a lot of this. So as a producer, like if you want more work, and especially in this industry, if you want more work, you're always going to have to be reaching out, always managing relationships like that.
Okay.
So charismatic, I'll say organized. I don't know like the word for like a people person. I don't want to say extrovert, but that's kind of what it is because you got to
Okay.
do kind of, yeah, and you do kind of have to reach out to people as well. But just being able to talk and to be able to communicate with people, that's another big one. Being able to, and so I say like the fourth part. Uh, I don't know what the word for it, but just being able to retain memory. If you're good with that,
Mm. Okay.
that's another
Okay.
thing. Because just because you have some as a producer, you're gonna have many projects, so you got to remember a lot. You got to remember
Mm.
lots of details. You got to remember a lot of people's names as well. That's a big thing on set. And just like we were talking about networking earlier on, like saying names is how you develop relationships. You keep good relationships as well. So always have
Yeah.
that in your. And I'm terrible with names, so that's the
Me
one thing.
too.
You know, dude, I'm terrible with names, man. It's so bad. It's so bad sometimes. Like you could tell me, some people could tell me their name, and I will literally forget it the next minute. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm
Yeah.
good with faces, but like names is something I've definitely had to work on. But
Yeah.
that's another thing too, man. Because like once you're on set and you're meeting all these people, like you're gonna be the main point of contact. If you have to reach out to somebody, you should know their name. You know, like if you keep asking, they're gonna be like, oh, I have to keep like in their head. You're like, oh, I gotta keep
Yeah.
reminding them. And like that might not be like some people are kind of a little bit better with others. You know what I mean? Some people
Yeah.
might be just like, oh, he just forgets names, but some people might be like, oh, he kind of forgot my name again. Like what's going
Yeah.
on? You know, and that can
Yeah.
develop like you gotta be a very likable person, very
Yeah.
likable person. Like first impressions are very important. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So just how you're able to handle yourself, and that's why I say charismatic, because just how you're able to handle yourself, how you're able to speak with people, to show that you're kind of like a go getter is very important. So I said
Mm.
organized, charismatic, I guess meticulous. I would say that too, but I guess meticulous can be the one that's just like remembering names, just like very keen to detail. But like I would say those four things are very important. And extra
Okay.
being an extrovert, yeah, I would say that's a lot.
I love that. That was a great description. Now segue into what profession is producing most like? What other profession is it most like, you think?
Ooh, uh, producing. So like since you have your hands a lot, any boss type, CEO,
Yeah.
type job, manager type job. And I think that just like in any, honestly, in any sense, like whether it's a restaurant or
Mm.
it's a production company or whether you're like the head doctor at the, you know, at a hospital, producers they're supposed to be the ones that know what's going on in every avenue of the project.
Mm.
So it's a
Okay.
lot of oversight, but it's a lot of responsibility as well. So a lot of people can do this. Like if you have, I know the creative mind is something that kind of takes a little bit to develop and stuff, to make
Yeah.
you a very good producer. But if you're organized and you're very meticulous to detail and very responsive, always being like not afraid, I would say, but just like always being available to people or to, whether it's clients or to your employees. I would say that it relates very heavily to being what a producer is. Just having that oversight and the responsibility. So any managing type, any type role I would say is very similar to producing or being a
Oh,
producer.
okay. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. CEO,
Mhm.
owning your own business. It makes sense. It makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. It's a lot of that. A lot of that.
Okay. What does society look like without producers?
Oh, it would look ugly, man.
Mm, yeah,
It would be
I agree.
ugly. It would be ugly because it's not just like I told. So we mainly do documentaries, docu series, and marketing campaigns. We're gonna work our way to TV shows, scripted TV shows, hopefully
Okay.
movies in the nearby future as well. Um, but wait, oof. Repeat your question. I'm sorry. I
Oh
just
no, you're
lost.
good. You're good. You're good. Oh, what does society look like without
Oh, right, right.
producers? Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, hopefully we're gonna like dive into all those avenues and whatnot. But producers are like at the simplest term for us are storytellers.
Mm,
And there's storytellers everywhere. Whether that's in the news or whether that's for so like the way I look at it is we're telling a story, whatever project we have, whether that's a commercial. Yeah, we're releasing a new shoe for Nike or something like that. We're producing a documentary on whoever on an athlete that's going to be on Netflix. So that's storytelling their story,
mhm,
storytelling the shoe, like what are the interesting parts of the shoe. News journalists, they're telling stories of what's happening around the world. So I mean, there's producers in every avenue. It's news, it's TV, it's movies, it's what have you. But the world without us, like it would just be harder to get information. Like imagine not having news, like like waiting, or even just like how our parents used to have to like wait a day or wait till like the evening news at 6 p.m. and stuff like that. That's all gone. Like I know now it's on a continuous cycle. We have
mhm.
Twitter, we have all this stuff that's easy accessible news, but I
Yeah.
feel like without producing, without storytelling, that we're gonna be people are gonna be out of the loop on so many things.
Mm,
And like we were talking about how it's so important to like learn other people's stories and other people's perspectives. Without
Yeah.
producers, I think all that goes away. Um, so it's definitely needed. It's whether it is to tell the news, whether it's for entertainment, like in movies are important too. Like that's
Yeah.
for me, it's a feel good thing. It makes me feel good. If I'm stressed out, one of my favorite things to do is just go to the movies by myself. You know, get some popcorn,
Mhm.
whatever, and watch it.
Yeah.
So it's storytelling. That's what I like to break it down in the most like simplest term is we're storytellers. You know, like how are we best going to tell this story? So
Mm.
without us, I think all that goes away. And it'll be more. Maybe it might be more like word of mouth. It might be more in person when it comes to like spreading the news, but that accessibility like that goes away. It goes away without producers. So
Yeah. And it would be
yeah.
bland. The world would be
Very.
bland.
It'll be so bland, dude. It would be so bland. It would be crazy. So
It
yeah, I think it's
would.
definitely needed. Definitely needed. If you think about it in like in the wide scope of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. What's the worst stigma associated with producers, if there's any? I've never heard any bad stigmas associated with them, but
yeah, I wouldn't say that exactly. I don't think there's any bad stigmas. Like, I mean, the only thing about it, it can get stressful, of course, because you're
Mhm.
managing so many things. Um, Producers. Well, I guess so. As a producer, I know you're like kind of the head of everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes the head of it, the head of whatever the company or the leader isn't like looked at like with much acknowledgement. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
most of the time, because most of the time you're also getting paid the most as a producer out of
Mm,
everybody, unless it's like you got some like big talent or going on like that. So I
yeah.
think when it comes to that, sometimes because like it depends on who you're working with, who the producer is, and I've noticed that as well. Like the crew, depending on who you are, and I mean everyone's been great here, but you can I've heard stories even like my ESPN days. Like if you don't have a good producer, like that's going to bring morale down. So it depends on who it is, and that's why I really think that's not even think it. I know it's very important to just be a people person and to just have positive relationships with everyone that you work with because that's the energy that they bring to you. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
uh, because you're responsible for all these different realms and all these different avenues, you really got to think about people placement and who's going to do well here and who's going to do well here. So it's a lot of managing that situation. If the people that you bring are not happy to work with you or not happy about the project, and that's going to show in your product.
Definitely.
So I would say maybe I feel like some people might like as a assistant camera person or a gaffer, like kind of not I wouldn't say the small roles, but like those type of roles where they might not like you, depending on who the producer is. That can bring that can bring some like negative impacts and stuff like that.
Mm.
But again, I don't think that comes from like a producer standpoint. I think that's more
Mm,
of like who you are as a person. So I mean, maybe
definitely.
like the only thing, like if you feel like you're being underpaid, maybe you'll look at the producer with some bad eyes, be like, oh, because they're the ones kind of that control your budget. You know what I mean? They're kind of the ones who
Huh?
set that to you. So it's like maybe they'll be like, I don't like this person. He's trying to skip me or something like that. So yeah, I think maybe that because you're so responsible with so many things,
Yeah.
someone might not know it's your fault, but because you're the producer, they might look at you and be like, "It's your fault," you know.
Yeah.
So it comes with that though. That's producing. I think that's probably as worse of a stigma it gets. Like you're
Okay.
gonna get the blame. You're gonna get the blame for even the smallest thing, maybe that comes to you. So you just gotta be responsible. You gotta be ready to take that responsibility.
You gotta quote Uncle Ben, with great power comes great
Because
responsibility.
really comes great responsibility. It comes great responsibility. So I can't.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
exactly. But like if you're being paid the most, or which
Yeah.
usually the executive producers is there, comes with it. Comes
that's,
with it.
that's it's honestly a perfect conversation because that ties right into my next question. Are
Yeah.
you underpaid or overpaid as a producer?
Yeah, I wouldn't say so. Like, yeah, I saw that question too, and I was thinking, I really got to think about it too. I wouldn't say so for me, like it's my first year as producer, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm overpaid. I'm not even. I'm definitely not overpaid. I'll say
Yeah.
I'm definitely not overpaid.
Yeah.
I feel like once I think next year is my next year is my goal, kind of to cross that 6 fig mark.
Hmm.
Hopefully next year or in the next 2 years, but I'm trying to get for the next year.
Definitely.
I'm close now, but like it's my first year producing.
Yeah.
And compared to what I was like making, so like my first job was production assistant at ESPN.
Yeah.
First job out of college, it's 36K. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Thinking about what I was
Interesting.
doing then, so underpaid. You know what I mean? Because you're responsible for
Right.
so much stuff, and I'm doing a lot of similar stuff that I was doing as a production assistant. Of course, like taking all the knowledge that I did at ESPN and brought it here.
Hmm.
So like I'm paid reasonable now. I think this is because it's my first year. Next year will be better and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I can't say I'm underpaid. I won't say that, but definitely not overpaid. But I
Mm.
think just because this is my first year and I'm starting with new company, like I've been at Blue Ox for a month. You know what I mean? So like
Mm.
I'm new to my coworkers, new to my boss. So like once we have that discussion at the end of the year and work on my contract for next year, I think it will reflect more of what a producer usually entails for. Usually with smaller companies, you get paid more compared to bigger companies, of course. So that you also
Mm.
have to analyze that as well. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it definitely depends where you are. Depends on where you are. I think for the most part, producers are not for the most part, producers I wouldn't say are underpaid for the most part. Um, unless you're like big companies like ESPN, like you're probably underpaid.
Mm.
But yeah, I would say it's like a happy medium right now. Yeah, I would say it's like right between underpaid and overpaid. I think it's like I'll lean over a little bit more to the underpaid side,
Yeah.
but I'm happy right now. I'll say that.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
happy right now.
Is the pay structure like right now? I get base salary and commission. Is the pay structure like? Do you get like commission or is it kind of like all base
So
or?
it's base. It's both. It's both. So it's base salary. But if I bring a client here, if I bring a client on and we do work together, and that once I get into comes to fruition, we got a project out, all that stuff. They're happy. We're happy. I do get a percentage. I'm not sure. I haven't brought a
Mm.
client yet.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how much the percentage is.
Yeah.
But we do get a little something something for bringing a client on. So that's kind
Oh,
of like
that's
our commission.
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
What's two more questions, so we almost done.
Yeah, no, you're
Um,
good, man. It's actually like
what's
it's actually kind of crazy. Like the time I just looked at it, I'm like, damn, like
yeah.
it does not feel empty, man. This is
Yeah.
actually. I was kind of. I'm not gonna hold you before you get to your next question. I was kind of sweating a little bit. I'm like, I hope I'm a good interview. Like,
Oh, it's great. It's a great interview. This is a
no, but
great
like
interview.
it's been so easy talking to you, man. So like, yeah, no, it's all
Yeah,
good.
it's if we get this long, it's a good interview. Because if it wasn't good, if it's not good, it probably would go over like
I
20 minutes.
I hear
Honestly,
that.
what what's a one person, book, or event that changed the like the trajectory of your life, like the journey of your life?
Yeah, person, book, or event. Mm. So I know, and I've had lots of changes in within my life. So I remember, of course, like the first book I told you about this earlier, "Gifted Hands" by Ben Carson. That was the first book that kind of pushed me to become a doctor. I learned I didn't want to
Yeah,
do that, so that was cool. And then the event that made me want to go to the journalism industry or production industry was just getting my hands on Adobe Premiere. So just fiddling with that. I remember like one of my first classes. That's kind of put me into this career. But now for like inspiration and like why I want to be a producer and why I want to direct, it's definitely people. Um, and I'll say like two of my biggest inspirations, or actually maybe even like three. I look up to a lot of people, a lot of famous
yeah.
people. But Issa Rae,
Mm.
amazing. Like no words really need to be said, but just seeing how she took her own creation and to see what she is now, and she's such a mogul.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I want my career to go too. But just watching her, watching Jordan Peele, and seeing how he started with,
Mm.
writing with Keegan, and how they had their own show, and now he has his own production company. Now he's writing, he's producing, he's directing, he's doing all this stuff. But people, Adam Sandler's another one, just because like he's acted, he has his own production company, Happy Madison. He's done so many
Mm.
movies with his friends. Like he's not even on a like I'm just trying to get awards. It's
Yeah,
just like I'm. This makes me happy. This is what I want to do, and he's able to put all these movies out. So those three people really inspire me, just because like that's what I want to be able to do, and like I do this not for any awards or anything, but just because I have so much fun doing it. And
definitely.
as stressed as I get, there's definitely times throughout the day where I forget this is work. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
I'm very happy to see something like start from like a whiteboard. Like we have some whiteboards over here. I don't want to move the camera because it might mess some stuff up. But like just seeing from like stuff like that comes from written down on a whiteboard to fruition on TV is very heartwarming for me.
Yeah,
So just to see those their career, like as a kid, I was watching this, and then to see where they are now, and they're just opening so many doors for not just themselves but for other people. It just kind of ties in everything that I want to do. So like opening doors for people. I would love to do that. I would love to be in position to do that as well.
definitely.
The reason why I want a production company is because I want to be able to tell stories that don't get the same shine as other people. So a
Mm.
lot of people from like the black community, whether LGBTQ plus community, whatever,
Mm.
just people that don't really see themselves on TV or don't see themselves on the computer. I want to be able to give people the resources to like take it and run with it. You know what I mean? So I
Definitely.
look at those people, and they inspire me all the time, and they're on my vision board too, just because they have been able to start with what they wanted to do, uh, and now and had their own show, had their own movie, and now they're just opening doors for other people.
Definitely.
And I think all three of them have their own production company.
Dang.
Yeah, so it's just like stories like that is really what inspires me. Just to be around like-minded people, even people in this office here, like they want to do movies too, and we haven't done movies, but just hearing that from them, I'm like, that's perfect. Like we can pick each other's brain, like we can work
Yeah,
together. uh so yeah, to get here, it's definitely been people are what inspire me. I'm a big empath too. I It's very easy for me to like put my feet into someone else's shoes, and to see
mm,
kind of like the outscope or point of view that they have. um, so yeah, I would say people is kind of really what inspired me now. And I know it was a book, and I know it was an event that got me here. And but like the book, it was his story. Like he believe it was Detroit is where he grew up. And of course, this is before he started running for president. And I don't agree with what he says, but but at the time,
yeah,
listen to the story of how he grew up with like I think he had just one brother and a single mom. Grew up in Detroit, like they grew up tough. It was tough and
yeah,
rough and everything. Like he really had to fight for everything, and to jump from that, I think he went. I want to say undergrad was Yale, but I know he did John Hopkins for med school. But like hearing that
mm,
story, seeing what he's able to do, that really inspired me too. So like just those type of
definitely.
stories really get to me.
Definitely. I love it. And like one of the highlights from this conversation is networking. But what you
Yeah,
said really like hit the nail on the head is young people. If you heard this whole interview, like thanks for listening. But what
please.
Moses just said is like was crucial. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Like
Oh,
everyone has a different vision. And you know what your vision is, you know what you love. Surround yourself with those kind of people. Like we're all friends, but we all have different visions. So like it's good
yeah.
to come together and have eat. We had our monthly dinners we can't have anymore because Moses is across the
No.
country. But we'll start it back when you get back on the East Coast. But
Facts. Facts.
but it's like being because that's how I was real estate when I was in a real estate company. I was in a mastermind with other real estate investors,
Yeah.
and it's like that's when I was at my best. And I made the most money in my life, honestly. And it's like when you're around people that want what you want, it's like it brings something a different part of humanity out of you. I can't even explain what it really is.
It
It
motivates you.
it
Yeah.
really does. It does. It's not even a competitive motivation. It's just like I can really do whatever I put my mind to, and I'm not alone. And that's like, I know me growing up as entrepreneurs, like I always felt alone for a long period of time. But then I was like, wow, these people, there's people out in the world that like me. That, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's like, it's
No,
crazy.
friends really will help you. And one of my favorite one of my favorite stories from Kareem, he told me, I want to say maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago or something like that. But I remember, so like I met y'all like I remember it was 1 year in college, during college. I came over and met y'all for the first time and stuff. But like we didn't
Yeah.
really get close until afterwards, right, when I moved to Charlotte.
Yeah.
So I remember one of our first trips was me, Mo, Kareem, and Dez, and we went to New York.
Okay.
We went to New York, and I remember those three. They went the day before me because I couldn't take off an extra day of work just yet. So I
Hmm.
came in a day later. But they had booked this Airbnb in Brooklyn, and it was a very small Airbnb. Like I walked in, and I'm looking around. I'm like, how did y'all even survive this? Like four people. There's only like two beds and one bathroom. Like, what are we gonna do? Right. So I
Yeah.
walk in. I walk in, and I'm not like bawling in any sense of nature. You know what I mean? I had a good
Yeah.
job, but I can do whatever. But I
Yeah.
walk in and I'm looking around. I'm just like, nah, we can't do this. That's why I look at
Yeah.
Mo. I'm like, dude, I'm about to call it Airbnb. So like I booked the Airbnb that day. Like me and Mo ended up Kareem and Des stayed there, and then but me and Mo went to the place in Manhattan. So like the
Yeah.
next day they come over. Like we're all hanging out in Manhattan, and like he doesn't tell me the story until like years later. But like
Yeah.
I remember like we went out one night and it's just me and him talking. He was like, yo, like, and this is after now, you see how what he's doing now, traveling
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this man is on go. I love it. And I love it,
Yeah.
by the way. I love it for him. But he told me, he was just like, yeah, man, I do remember like one things I clearly remember was that trip. And I remember like just seeing, like he was telling me, he was like, I remember seeing you just like getting there and just being able to just book an Airbnb just like that. Like just
Yeah.
no thinking, like not worrying about the price, whatever, just like booking that and hopping over. Like that really inspired him to like get to be on
Mm.
grind mode. And like that's one of my
Mm.
favorite stories now because and I
Yeah.
we haven't talked about this in a year or so, but like that's one thing I'll always like keep true to me. Like I didn't know I inspired you like that, like
Yeah.
some simple thing like that. And
Yeah.
I see him now; he's like everywhere, Greece, Bahamas, like he's like
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia, and he's
Yeah.
doing his own the YouTube channel, like with the
Yep.
vlogs and editing stuff
Crazy.
like that. Like from what he was in 2019 to see what he is now, it's just crazy, like
Yeah.
I mean like it, and he was still good at 2019, but like
Yeah.
the way he just like took off.
Yeah.
And the fact that like I'm not, of course, like it didn't all start with just that, with that fucking
Yeah.
trip. Like I know it was much more motivation that he took with them, but like that just made,
Yeah.
made me feel really good. Like just
Definitely.
like to know that his friends inspired him. Like me, I inspired him at that point the way he's
Definitely.
inspiring me right now, like going
Definitely.
on all these trips with his girl
Oh
and things
yeah.
like that, you know what I mean? So like it's that
Definitely.
back and forth. It's that back and forth that's why I like our crew. And like
Yeah.
those monthly dinners, I wish we stayed true. I know like everything got
I
like
know.
hectic and stuff, and we tried like the first few months and stuff like that. But like,
Yeah.
man, y'all got keep that going, man. Keep that going
Yeah.
because like as long as we keep, being in the know of what's going on, like
Yeah.
life is a roller coaster. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
gonna be good times, there's gonna be bad times, but you never know
Definitely.
when that motivation is gonna help you get out of that rut. You know?
Definitely.
So that's I
100%.
mean that's what we're here for. We're here to inspire each other.
Definitely.
Like he told me I inspired him and now he's inspiring me right now. You know what I mean? So it's
Definitely.
just like it's a give and take and like that's my brother, man. Like y'all my brothers.
Yeah.
Like we gonna help out
100%.
each other, We're gonna help out each other through the
100%.
end. Through the end.
100%. Shout out Kareem. Like
Shout out
like
Kareem,
Moses
man.
said, man, going crazy right
Crazy. Crazy. Crazy,
now.
crazy. I love it for my brother, man. I love it for
Yeah, he living it up, man. He
yeah,
just yeah, it's a beautiful thing to see others, especially people you love, succeed. Like seeing
yeah,
anyone succeed makes me smile, makes you smile. But seeing people that you love, seeing them succeed is really amazing.
yeah.
Honestly, like it's a beautiful
Heartwarming,
thing.
man. For sure.
Last question, Moses. I'm gonna let you go after this. If
Sure.
if it's a young Moses, or let's say it's a young Ryan, it don't matter. Somebody making someone's name, they want to get into become a producer. What are
Yeah.
the steps you give them to become a producer, or what do you tell them to do?
Yeah, man. It's so one. I know like film school is a lot. People say film school. Like none of us did film school. Like none of people. Nobody in my company has done film school. But I'll say producer. So I guess definitely in high school. At least in most high schools, there's definitely some production classes that you should take. But I would say just like take any opportunity to just get into these studios, um, whether it's an internship, whether it's just freelancing. Like we were saying, like, and what the big note from this interview today is networking, man. Like
Yeah.
networking. Like it's never gonna hurt to know more people, and you just have to keep your keep your ears open, listen to as much as you can, and never take an opportunity off. Like whatever opportunity you may have, whatever it's a networking event, whatever it's, even if it's like the smallest little thing, takes 30 minutes and it's out your way. You just never know who you're gonna meet. You never know who you're gonna see. But college, I would advise for it just because you get those perspectives. It's easier like to take those classes. Like I had a production set in college. We had like a newsroom, we had a producer set, audio board, all that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that I learned in college that did not take me any time to learn once I got to ESPN.
Yeah.
Everything was bigger, but I had a sense, and I had a feel of everything. So I would just reach as a young producer. I would just reach out to production companies, producers, whether it's LinkedIn. That's why I always do that too. I always just throw, hey, say your name, say what you want to do, and there's going to be people that want to help you because they're going to see themselves in you, and they're going to be like, I remember as a young person, me reaching out to producers or directors or whatever just to get their foot in the door, just to learn something. Once you get
Definitely.
that foot in the door, it's really going to help you, whether it's networking with that specific company or other companies. Like there's going to be coworkers that come from different places that you might want to hop into next year or later on. And there you go. You have a connect that knows somebody in there. You know what I mean? So
Makes
learn
sense.
as much as you can learn as much as you can on your own. YouTube is there. Like all these tutorials are there. But then also, also have to talk to people, reach out to people, be that fly, be that fly in the room, and just soak in as much information that you can. I know there's like online classes for directors and stuff. I saw some like they're not too expensive either. Like, and you're gonna have to spend some money, like of course, but like if that's what you truly want to do, then it's not gonna be a problem for you. Like but there's
Definitely.
definitely master classes. Like I know like Jordan Peele has a master class too. You can pick his
Mm.
brain and stuff like that. Like it's out there. There's so many resources out there. So as a producer, one thing you really got to do is being able to find answers for yourself. And you should always you should always have the mindset. Let me try to solve this before I go ask a question.
Got you.
You know,
Yeah.
like let's try like because that's how you're gonna learn. You know what I mean? That's how
Yeah.
I learn the best, hands on everything. Like, and I think just naturally as a person, that's how I operate. Like I would try to find it before I ask for help. And just so like because if I'm able to do that, then it's like it's deep down in my brain now. You know what I mean? As opposed to asking questions and having that kind of I wouldn't say easy way out because I want you like
Yeah.
ask questions if you need to ask questions. Like
Yeah.
it's just having that happy medium.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, no, the resources are there. So learn as much as you can. Ask when you need to ask.
Hmm.
But just you got to put yourself in these situations and opportunities. Like it's not going to come and wait for you. You really have to be on go. You really have to be on go, and you have to. Why I said charismatic is what it takes to be a producer because you can't be afraid to go out and on your own and look for these opportunities.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah, so as a young person, that's what I would say. I feel like my younger self, I waited a little bit for things to
Yeah.
hit me.
Yeah.
Um, but like now, as a 27-year old, like I'm on go. Like it's a
Definitely.
grind right now. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say I have many regrets when it comes to all this because I think everything is a learning experience. I truly believe that like there's gonna be things that you need to grow.
Yeah.
So like I'll take the good and the bad. Maybe there's a little maybe not even that's why I wouldn't say I would do things differently. Really, maybe I should have started the journey a little sooner. Maybe
Yeah.
that's one thing I could change. But then again, I look at that and I'm just like, nah, like that extra time. I learned a lot in that extra time. Like I might not have learned so much in producing, but just as a person, like me growing as a man, like
Definitely.
I've learned so much in this past year. About myself that I probably wouldn't have known if I had jumped to this job so early. So yeah,
Definitely.
man, let's live your life with no regrets. I try to say that for sure. Like, don't miss out on
Yeah.
opportunities. The worst thing that you can do is look back and be like, "Damn, I should have done that," or "Damn, I should have taken that call." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, um, yeah, Yeah,
I love it.
just go, yeah, go get it. To any young person watching trying to be a producer, just go get it, man. That's my advice.
I love it. And you said something again that hit the nail on the head. You create opportunity. Luka Moses said when he wanted a job, he reached out to his friend, and his friend presented opportunities for him. So even though his friend had like he knew the people, he knew the company. Moses created the opportunity by reaching out to him first.
Yep,
So you remember, no matter how young you are, look at a 14-year-old we mentioned earlier. He created opportunity. He
he
created the
did.
video.
He
He
did.
he put it on Twitter because he could have made it and kept it to himself. Like you know how many like closet geniuses there are. Like they're just afraid to come out to the world. Like there's
Yeah,
so many of them, but you create opportunity and you are worth it. So you're worth it and you create opportunity. Like it's the older I get, the more I realize these like cliche sayings that we heard growing up, they're super simple.
true. Right, but
They're
it's
they're
true.
so yeah, they're so true. It's like that's why I say it like 3 times because like it has
Yeah,
to get ingrained in you. Like these
yeah.
things, like it was crazy. We're gonna end in a second, but I
Good.
know my mom was just telling me when we were growing up, like you could be whatever you wanted to be, and I was always like in my head, I wouldn't talk, I wouldn't talk back to my mama, but I was like, I can't be no president. But I realized her saying that to me, my dad saying that to me when I was younger, it really put in my mind, not even put in, like it really showed me that I can be whatever I want. Because I see people that I know now who like came from, I guess, unsupportive households where they literally tell me like, Will, I can't do what you do. And I'm like, yes, you can, bro. And I realized it's not me that made my mindset. First of all, it's God above anything, but it's my parents. They ingrained into me like that I could be whatever I wanted to be. And then I took on that and I fostered and cultivated that mindset too.
Yeah,
But kid, you can be whatever you want to be. Even if you're 40 years old, you can. Oh, J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter. I forgot how old she was. Like, you know
yeah,
what I mean? There's so many stories. Age is quite literally, like, it's quite literally a number. Like, quite
yeah,
literally. Like,
yeah, man. Oh, I think Oprah didn't get her first gig until her late 30s either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and now
it's
look what she is now. Like, it's crazy, man. Like, but like you said, it's really there's so many people in this world who are afraid to put their work out there, and
yeah,
life is too short to let life is too short to let others dictate what you want to do. You know what I
definitely,
mean?
definitely,
If this is what you truly want to do, you gotta put it out there, and you can't really care what other people say, what people do, how people receive it. Like it's what was your intention with it? Are you happy with it? Like, are you happy with it? And that's kind of the biggest thing, man. Like,
definitely.
so that yeah, you just got to go for it. Like, and I know you were saying like I got my ESPN job, I got this job too with connections. My
Hey,
my boy from man, I'll shout him out too, Neil Peterson, man. I went to high school
nice,
with him, man, and
easy.
he was doing all the production classes in high school. He was a year
Mm,
below me, but we were really good friends. He went to Georgia, I went to Chapel Hill. We just kept in communication. Like within like I think I've only within our time in college, I've only seen him twice. We were really good friends
wow.
in high school, but I only seen him twice within that time and between that college and now. So like, and now look what's happening. You know what I mean? So like, it's connection, networking, man. It's like one of the most important things, man. Like, never people might forget what you say, but people won't forget how you made them feel. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So keep everything like just keep it like unless you like truly unlike this person. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
stay away from negative energy too, right? But like
yeah.
whoever you meet, keep it positive, you keep it good. They'll always
Definitely,
remember that. They'll always remember that. And so it'll
definitely.
never be awkward. It'll never be awkward if you ever reach out to them like years later and they're just like, "Hey, I was looking for this." Like I've had people
Yeah,
reach out to me so trying to get to ESPN, and I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh, this was my boy in high school." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and it was
definitely.
even it was for his brother, but like because I'm good with his brother, I was just like, "Yeah, of course, throw my name
Yeah,
on the referral." But
easy.
it's this world. It's small. It's really small when you think about it, and it's
It's
because it's people.
it's super small. And
Yeah.
like you said, like uh it's a quote, a Bible verse. I don't want to I don't want to destroy it, so I'm not gonna say it. But it's like it's essentially saying like, oh, it's like a man's name is worth gold, like your
Mm.
word. So it's like you kept your name so clean that people like were willing to recommend you to these jobs, and like that speaks volume because there's a lot of people that I would never recommend for jobs like that. I know.
You know
So
what I
it's
mean? And
that's
that
yeah.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
it speaks volumes. But I'm gonna end it here. Well, give your social medias real quick, Moses, so people can follow you, reach out to you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I think I'm pretty sure my Twitter and my Instagram are the same, but it's Masilu, Moosilu, for both Twitter and Instagram. And I think that Threads is the new thing. I just downloaded that
Yeah,
yesterday. So hey,
yeah,
just see me out on Threads too. But I'll say those are the three I kind of keep up to date with. Definitely Instagram because you'll see a lot of my work in Blue Ox Films, the production company I'm working for, on Instagram. So that's where I'll put a lot of my edits and campaigns that come. Once they're all finished, of course, we still have a lot of stuff
yeah.
in the work, but it's all coming. But definitely catch me on Instagram for sure.
Definitely. Man, Moses, man. Y'all go follow him, man. Go support his work, him and Blue Ox. Man, this man's gonna be legendary. Like
I appreciate you.
this is like gonna be like documenting like Martin Scorsese, like
I
in
was
his
thinking
in
about
his
that too. I was thinking about it too. I was like, just wait like a year or 2 years from now, and
Yeah.
we look back at this interview. Like, what's it like? It's gonna be crazy.
And I'm gonna do it again.
Hey,
We're gonna have another one.
I
That's
love
all
it.
that
Part
mean.
two.
Yeah, hey, bro, hey, because it's the journey, bro. It's a journey. Like
Yeah,
people don't realize the journeys is it's not the end of it. It's really the journeys that are important. That's what
yeah,
people learn from, honestly.
absolutely.
But we appreciate your time, Moses, man. We really appreciate you. Thank you
Hey,
for
thank you,
joining
man.
us, man. Oh man, you already know. You already know.
I just wanted to shoot this out too. Hey, what you're doing right now with this, I mean, it's already at a big time thing, man. So I can only, like you
Appreciate
said,
you,
it's all about the journey. So I'm excited to be here, kind of like when it first little jumped, but I already know like this time next year it's about to be even bigger.
man. I
So I'm
appreciate you.
excited for you, man. Just like Kareem motivates me, you motivate me too with this,
Appreciate
man.
you.
Like this is
Appreciate
dope.
you.
It's dope
Yes,
what you're
sir.
doing. I was telling my coworkers like, yeah, I'm helping out my friend with his podcast, and they're like, oh, what's it about? I'm like, oh, he interviews like people from all aspects all around the world, and like they talk about their industry, and they're just like, that's so cool, like you know what I mean? So like
Yeah,
your
yeah.
idea, I'm happy to see it blooming and coming to
Man,
fruition, my brother.
I
Like
appreciate you,
I'm
man.
happy for you.
Hey, it couldn't work without like people like you, like volunteering, because time is money, and I really appreciate you guys for being willing. And even when I don't have, I'm gonna get a big audience eventually. We all gonna get big, but it's like
Absolutely.
people like you that help build up the brand. That's why when I get bigger, I'm gonna keep getting back to y'all. I'm gonna keep putting
Of
y'all on it so
course.
y'all can expose it to y'all audience. And that's what life's about. It's about sharing and it's about giving. It's about giving, and then receiving a little bit. You
Community.
receive a little bit, but you give. Yeah, it's community. That's all it is.
Community.
But I
Community.
appreciate you, Moses, man. Y'all comment, y'all like, y'all subscribe, and y'all follow. Definitely follow Moses, man.
Sir.
This is the Unknown Options. Thank you for y'all time. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.